Are you ready for the heavyweight championship of the world? Are you ready?
Hey, welcome to Unanimous Corner, bringing you another episode of Unanimous Decision. And today, who we talking to, Bill?
Hey, Unanimous Decision, that's our exclusive interview series. And today, we're bringing you one of, in my opinion, one of the best harmonizing groups in R&B. Today, these guys are coming out of New York, and they gave you that song, Where Do You Want Me to Put It? Today, we got none other than Solo.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hey, welcome to the show, guys. How you feeling?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Blessed, man. Blessed.
It's great to hear. Now, here's the thing. For a group called Solo, obviously, it looks like you guys travel in packs. So we got D-Nail, Dan, and JD with us today. Fellas, you guys ready to step into the ring?
Yes. Let's do it.
Hey, let's go. So, all right. You guys are based out of New York. You came out of New York. So from what we're reading and researching, what were your musical influences coming out of New York?
Oh,
Everybody.
New York? Yeah, everybody, right?
It wasn't just New York. You know,
You mean New York artists or just?
Well, I mean, I guess as you were coming up as youth, what were your surrounding influences? I mean, of course, you guys had, nationwide influences, but did you have any influences locally, at the boroughs up there?
Oh, D-Train, man. I got D-Train back in the day. Okay, but go ahead.
You said you go first, man.
Well, individually, Marvin for me, Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, Bobby Womack, Smokey. I like Smokey too. Luther, all the greats, man. Anybody that was great, I liked them. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that had some different thing about them or some soulful thing about them, that's who I dug. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I grew up listening to definitely Luther Vandross was one of my favorites. Babyface.
Dang, yeah.
Of course you had the Marvin, it was some of everybody. Female singer as well. Shaka Khan influenced the way I hear high notes and stuff.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Aretha Franklin,
Absolutely.
And then locally, it was weird because we were always influenced by everybody. We were singing around, in the streets, and we were going, to the clubs,
open mics.
So everybody was singing in New York. We were here, and
Carl Thomas. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Carl Thomas was that?
Carl was there.
Mics we used to go to.
Who's
Melody Daniels on?
Melody Daniels. Ron
Grant. Late Ron Grant. Yeah.
Okay. What about Force MDs? I know we interviewed our guy Stevie D.
Hey, I know them cats, man.
Okay. Yeah, that's the guy. Stevie D's our guy, man. We got a chance to interview him.
About some hits.
Yeah, for real. Well, actually, we heard about them when we got here, so we wanted to try to emulate them. You know what I'm saying? That's what we was doing actually. Because they had already came in and did that and made it and was out.
They was definitely part of the imprint.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And speaking of emulating, I would say, like, hearing you guys, I felt like if you were emulating folks back in the day, you did it with respect. Because when I hear you guys, I draw the line between you guys as well as Temptations. It just sounds so familiar.
Right.
So you mentioned the singing in the street stuff, and I always thought that was just like eye candy for like biopics, but you guys really did that. And I mean, there's a story about two legend producers finding you guys singing under streetlights. Like, how true is that, and how has that been exaggerated throughout the years?
That's 100% true story, man. It's no, like I always say, people say, well, why y'all not, ain't have y'all unsung or whatever? We don't know your story. I don't think people would believe our story if we told it. They
exactly.
because that is absolutely true. what
Yeah.
happened was Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, you know, super producers from, you know, any era in the last 40 years.
I know, right? God.
You know,
Absolutely.
they were doing
Absolutely.
shopping. They were here in New York, just doing some shopping. And we do what we used to do. We used to call it hit. And you probably heard it on the
Yeah.
first song on the album, Time to Hit. And we would go to the various spots where we sing, and we would do our set. And the set usually run anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes, depending on which set. And Jimmy and Terry were in New York that day, both driving. One was driving in a cab, and happened to come up on us in the cab listening, because we used to stop traffic. And when I say stop traffic, we stop traffic. Like it would be, I would say, anywhere from 5 to 8 people deep in Soho, you know, just stopping and listening to us because they were enjoying themselves. So he was listening, and he was trying to see, and he caught the bass, and he saw all these guys, and he was like, wow. Takes the cab, leaves. Up walks this beautiful lady who happens to be Terry Lewis's wife, Karen White.
Yeah.
She pulls him over to the group to us singing, and they listened, and they just stood there and listened for a minute. Terry slipped some money, a nice big tip, and he also slipped his car. They circled back later on that evening. They meet up back at, you know, I'm putting this in, I think it was the Four Seasons, maybe, you know, it could be the Ritz.
Yeah, they always went to the Four Seasons.
They go back to the hotel. I hit them. I'm like, yeah, man, I saw this group, man. They would, you know, it was these guys down, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, Jam, don't worry about it, man. I already took care of that. He's like, yeah. Then they go through and they tell a story. A couple of weeks later, you know, Terry and Jam, they had us out, you know, in Minneapolis, you know, asking us, do we want to be a part of Perspective Records? And I'm telling that story from a distance because I wasn't there that day. So, but it is a real story.
Yeah, but you got it right, though. You got it.
Other people, like, you know, after we were signed, we used to still go out on the street and keep our chops, you know, sharp. We met plenty of people. Babyface, his wife, you know, they were interested, but we were already signed. It was the perfect way. It was like the internet, but in reality, you know, like place where people just like, get all the information. That's where you went in that time and period.
Yeah,
that is crazy. Yeah, if I saw that on the Unsung, I probably wouldn't have believed it either. Like that just sounds too good to be true.
It's so true.
Twice. That's
amazing. Definitely true. Yeah.
But what's crazy is that look who intervened while you guys were singing. Like you got one half of a super producer and Karen White. Like that's who comes up to you. that's not in the everyday experience. That you know what I mean? That is nuts.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Karen was she's not only a beautiful spirit, but she was also, you know, she did there's a song on our album where she's singing along with, you know, me. I do most of the high parts. She's singing along. You can hear it. If you nobody knows this, but listen to It's Such a Shame.
It's such a shame. Yeah.
You'll hear this really high voice, and she's singing with the group, you know. But she was always in the studio, like listening and giving input. She even hired us later to do some music, do backgrounds on a few songs that she had worked on with
Dwayne Wiggins, Tony. Yeah.
Which was completely different. It was really soulful. It was really interesting, and we did some work with her on that after years after. And she's always been a really big, just supported the group. She's been a big supporter of the group. Without her, you know, Terry may not have stopped. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So
I always said that.
So with the number one, you got y'all, the harmonization is insane, like crazy. Vocals out of this world, right? You guys added a lot of doo-wop interludes, I would say. The cha-cha-cha. Love that cha-cha-cha.
Another Saturday night cha-cha-cha. Yeah, right.
Oh man. I'm sorry, but we may have to get like a little piece of that as we exit today, fellas. So y'all be the first to ever, voice us, bless the channel with just a little outro, maybe about 10 seconds.
I don't know
No,
if
never
that's possible
did
being in
people
different
that-
time zones.
Yeah. In different places, I ain't never did that before.
Hey, we'll make it
Somebody
work.
is over-
Hey, Barry is a wizard with that editing. So
Nah, I seen a lot of bad stuff going around on the internet right now. I think that's what.
Whoa, yeah, we
you
might
got,
need
like,
some good vocals.
when it come to when it come to being different internet lags and stuff.
Yeah,
the intentions
most
may end up
definitely.
falling short. So I feel you
Yeah.
guys
Real.
on that.
Oh,
It's real.
But whose idea was it to add the doo-wop interludes in your on your albums?
It was
Jamie Lewis.
yes. They
Lewis.
were I'd say they were the foundation. You know, we
Yeah.
had a strong foundation in like performance, but we were many of us we were new to studio singing, which is different than singing on the street trying to, you know, stop people getting up the subway or something, right?
Yeah.
It required us to pull back. It required some finessing, and one thing that was integral in Jam and Lewis is kind of trying to figure out who we were as a group. They knew who we were as a group. Terry put it again, and he said, "This is who you are. This is what you do. We got to bring that to this project in some way." So at the end, when we were finishing up the album, I think it was one of the last things we did, wasn't it, Darnell? Where he just got in there, he said, all right, do a set. And just stop at every song. And so that's what they did. We were full set. They got songs somewhere, you know, Temptation songs and stuff that were never approved to be put on the record because, you know, that's some expensive, you know.
Hey, Motown ain't playing with y'all.
They ain't playing. And you know, we were like, well, if we're gonna do a half a song, we need to do a whole song if we're gonna pay that.
Right.
Yeah, man.
So that's how a lot of the Sam Cooke stuff came out of
It fit.
So
Actually, that was a second to the last stuff we did. The last song was Where You Want Me to Put It.
Right.
That's the last song we did.
wow.
But before then, it was acapella. Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So with your vocals, JD, how were you able to ingratiate yourself into what was already, I guess, formed?
Well, I grew up listening to solo, so now I'm telling everybody's age. Sorry about that.
I done told you.
What you talking about, Willis?
So it was actually interesting. The guy that brought me to solo to the audition, he said himself, the vocal that I would be coming in to do, I actually literally sounded like that person. So kind of didn't take much.
Wow.
It was more so meshing with the guys to make sure that I'm blending and then moving forward. It really didn't take much at all. It really didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, and that person that he sounded like, we don't disrespect in our group. You know, everybody was a member, is always a member.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, he was no longer. He decided to move on.
No, that's awesome. Like when it comes to, for me, my favorite genre is R&B, and part of like the R&B groups that I like, there's a smoothness to it, and just the fact that you guys could even talk about that with respect, it just kind of like sticks with the brand. One thing that I want to add, because you brought up perspective, and whether you guys realize it or not, perspective seemed like a test at the time, because we look back and we hear groups like some of your label mates, Mint Condition, Sounds of Blackness, Low Key.
Yeah.
That wasn't in line with a lot of mainstream at the time, right?
Yeah.
So was there any pressure? Because remember, A&M was kind of like the big boss. Did you guys feel any pressure to like chase chart numbers, or was the idea just, hey, we're trying something new to like introduce that? Like, I'll let you guys answer. But
no, you want to go? I'll follow.
I started off. It was something different. We wanted, and they wanted something to do something different. You know, unlike everything else that was out there, because that was the label's whole thing of like doing stuff that most people, you know, most companies wasn't doing. Most music companies wasn't doing. So
it's we were counter programming almost.
Yeah. So we were like really different. I'm like, we was like, you know, I mean, like
we were different.
Yeah. Well,
we were different.
The label was, and I mean,
the label too,
because and you nowadays you don't get that type of respect, and I guess they had the cachet. with A&M for all the other work with Janet, but I'm telling you today, they would have pulled the plug on it and it would have robbed a lot of us of good music.
Yeah, we wouldn't have gotten a chance. We wouldn't have gotten a chance.
Yeah.
You know, that I always this story, we were at this music convention, you know, when you're trying to push all your music, you know, they used to have conventions and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And our song was coming up, it was coming on the charts, it was getting played, and this girl who was an industry person.
I know what
you know, fans are coming around, people know us.
Know the story.
She's like, yeah, I heard y'all song, y'all is gonna cut your brick. We was like, dang.
She said, that's gonna catch a brick.
I was like, it was interesting. I think that you're right.
Very much so.
Perspective was a different type of label. I think it started and stemmed from the idea that Jimmy and Terry, and they can answer this in the future at some point when you get to them. They were just interested in what things felt like, if it felt authentic, if it felt real, and if you had talent. And if those two things kind of meshed, they knew that they had the talent to kind of create something that could be a little bit more marketable, or people to package it in a way that people would be accepting of it as, here's a project from Low Key, here's a project from Sounds of Blackness, here's a project, you know, and Nesby. Like, all those projects are completely different, you know, because of the artists. And they were looking for artists. They were looking for people who were just a little bit, you know, to the left of center, if you want to say, you know, not in the mainstream. Something that make you go, you know. And I think that that's true to, you know, how they roll. They're attracted to that feeling, that vibe, that authenticity, and that talent.
That's amazing.
And with dealing with any kind of group, whether it's a duo or you know, 5-man group, whatever, you guys have to have cohesiveness. You guys have to work as a unit, right?
Definitely.
You guys have been together for many years, so even JD, you too. Answer this: how do you credit your cohesiveness to your success?
Up the mic. It's on.
Is this on?
That's it. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead, answer that.
That's not an easy question to answer.
Okay, let me answer that question. Is anybody married? Imagine being married to the 3 other guys, Black, young guys, right? And having to negotiate every step, having to compromise every step of the way. It's a challenge. It's always been a challenge. You know, truth be told, that's probably why, you know, the difficulties, that's probably why Unique was like, yeah, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. That's a lot, man.
That's like a 24-hour, 24-hour.
You living together, you traveling together, you get up, you working together, you eating together, you working out together. It's just like, back up off me, right? And then you got to have a clear head and make the right decisions and do it on camera and do it on radio. And with little to no preparation, like nobody's preparing you. Thank God Perspective prepared us for marketing as far as how we interact with the public and all that, right?
Media training and
they don't do that to us anymore.
For sure.
By the seat of your pants, if you on the internet nowadays and you just type in the, you know, at 2 o'clock.
Baptism by fire.
It's a lot.
Exactly.
So
it was time. You know, we had to get used to each other. We had to get used to the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. But the commitment to what is it that you want to do, and is it purposeful for you? Right. I think that's a true question. And that's why we do it, because we enjoy it. We never did it. I'll stick on myself. Y'all can answer. I never did it. You know, I did it because I love the compromise of harmonizing, you know, whether it's on the street corner or in a studio or in a stadium.
Right.
So and this is kind of like an off question, Barry, but obviously to sing, you guys, and to harmonize how you guys do, you have to have some kind of ear and understanding your notes, your scales, your everything to go. When did you guys know that you can sing like that though? Like obviously individually, you had to know you could sing, but then you had to come together to know you can sing together. But when did you guys individually know you could sing?
JD, you go first.
Luckily for me, a lot of people don't know this. Chubby Checker is like my third cousin or something like that. And my entire family, for the most part, we all do something as far as singing. So I started singing about 3.5, 4. And once I got the mic, I never put it down. I've been directing choirs since I was 12, and the list just goes on and on and on. So I've known for many years that I had something. I just had to perfect the craft and be able to come together with a group like Solo and not only do my leads, but blend and sound good at the same time.
It's a family trait at that point.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
which adds that cohesiveness.
All right, so I got a bone to pick with you guys because you guys got me in trouble. Like I'll tell you the story about how I was introduced to the group. So there was a show. Number one, I shouldn't have been watching the show anyway. So it's kind of like it's a catch-22. So there's this program that used to air on BET. It was called Comic View, and there was a comedian.
Oh yeah, I already know.
You know where I'm going. All right.
Yes. We heard all this over the years.
Yeah. So and she did a lot of promotion for you guys because her name was Montana Taylor. And there's a joke about she's talking about how songs are vulgar today. Yeah. And Jodeci is brought up. And she follows up Jodeci with a record called Where Do You Want Me to Put It?
Yeah.
And I basically, back then we didn't have the internet yet. So I had a homeboy who used to make mixtapes. Like I said, hey, I heard this song on, I heard this title on BET. Where do you want me to put it? Put it on there. I played it, got in trouble for listening to it. So did you guys ever second guess the material that you guys were singing?
So, wow. First of all, how you just go through it?
Hey man, hey, there's some accountability I want you guys
to
take.
Apologize to your parent. All right, cause
my mom, my auntie, my dad, come on, man.
Who was secretly, doing their little grind.
They knew the song though, so take that with a grain of salt. But go ahead.
Oh, what's up? I would say for myself, initially the title scared me.
Yeah, me too.
So the song was written by it was started by McKinley Horton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
also wrote a bunch of songs on our first album.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so he would play it, and we were like, okay. So they built the track, and as Dino said, it was one of those last minute. We were getting, I think we had almost popped the crystal or whatever, and we were, and they were like, oh, we got another song. Yeah, so we go into the studio in the, I think it was C at the time. We go in there and we record it, and because we are just happy that we had been there for a few months, we were happy it was over. We went in there, man, and we was like, well, we were just like letting it out. We didn't care at that point, at that point, and I didn't care. So when we left. We did what we had to do. They got what they needed, and then like 2 months later, they sent us. We were like, oh dang, it was like that, and we felt a little better about it. So as long as it wasn't, I don't think it was really lewd, and like I just think it was
clever.
A clever way.
Exactly. Very clever.
Good word.
I think the nuance behind it, I think it was very clever, and I think that's something that's missing with music today. Like it was just so subtle. I think the title is probably more scarier than the actual lyrics. But for me, I think it's a fine song. I think it's creative, and I think it was the right choice to like put that on the album. So
and it was fun, right? When you hear it, you feel.
It was fun.
To a kid, you could add the Y on the back of that. It was fun and it was funny. Like I'm a kid and I was immature at the time. Yeah. I'm in middle school when I'm first hearing that song. So it was
Can you when you guys are touring and you're doing your stuff, you have to sing that song. I'm going to sing.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely.
If we don't sing this song, we in trouble.
Yeah,
that's funny.
It's definitely a defining, part of the group. I would say, like
exactly. Yeah.
So you guys are in the era of not the '90s. We had, I say that for me, it's the '90s was the best era of R&B music. A lot of the other guys we interviewed, they say the same thing. They would say the 70s are your rivals because of how much soul it was. But when you look at the amount of male R&B groups that were there when you guys were in,
jeez.
Wow. A lot of you guys seem to be friends, like genuine friends, genuine good relationships. Did you guys have like any friendly rivals? You know, like, man, you know we're gonna eat you up today, right? You know what's gonna happen. So you better go on before us, not after us.
Have we ever?
I don't think we ever did. We was always focused on us.
Okay.
It was like, you know, you read those stories about back in the 60s where they were like, okay, Jackie Wilson just got out there and kicked some ass, Sam. You better get out there and kick some ass, Sam. That's how we were. We were like, ooh, you know, we going up after such and such, or we got to open up for such and such. And we go out there and give our all like we would on the streets, man. That's really how we approach.
Nice.
And we were, I think that we were a little bit let down by the reality that it wasn't like an industry of like connectedness, like weird. And that was from, you know, being on tours or being in, you know, quote unquote associated or friends or seen in a picture. It wasn't too often where we had those like long lasting like friendships. Where it was like, you know, people or groups or individuals like continuously checking in and seeing how you doing. We didn't really have that, I don't think.
No, not even now, not to this.
Well, back then, but
like I can't tell you who I got in my phone from the 90s that I would call and be like, you know, this just happened to me today.
Me and Rafael talk all the time. I don't know what happened.
I think that's where social media would have played a part back then.
It probably would have.
Yeah.
It probably, yeah.
So
but we had cell phones.
They had the brick ones. Yeah, the brick phones. So when you look at groups like yourself, not a lot of R&B male groups, like back in the 90s, not a lot of drama, not a lot of beefs. That's mainly hip hop when I think of that. So it's all, but when I see today, the industry's kind of like turned their back on bands as well as R&B groups. Why do you think that is? Why aren't we seeing R&B male, female groups as well as bands anymore?
Anybody?
I would have to say it's more so, to me, it seems to be selfish. It's more so about the artist now than a group of people coming together. I don't know why it's changed to that, but that's how I feel about music right now. Back in the day, we did have way more groups. You had the single artists as well, but I'm just saying it's like a selfish approach now. It's all about me. I don't want to share the spotlight with anybody else. That's kind of the reason why we don't see a lot of groups doing their thing right now.
Yeah.
I think it also, that's probably true. And I also think that it is, it's a lot easier to, you know, sit in your home studio and, you know, and work on something, or it's a lot easier to start your own independent label than go to a record company and say, I got 4 girls. You got to worry about pregnancy. How old are they? What they look like?
Exactly.
All of that. Like, I think record companies probably say, you know, it's probably cheaper, less expensive, less time consuming for us to just focus on this and let's push this. And it's, you know, it's working. It's been working for them, but it makes the overall, you know, in R&B field or whatever field that you're doing the music in kind of suffer in this.
Yeah. Another thing, you ain't got to deal with so many personalities, man.
That's true too.
That's true too. Individual person.
It's hard.
I mean, dealing with 4 or 5 different personalities is like, that would drive you crazy.
Yeah.
That would drive me record label king crazy.
We don't even see duos anymore.
Nope.
That ain't even happening no more.
That's not even happening.
It's
just like rap.
Season of solo.
Maybe rap.
Rap.
Yeah,
rap. Rap, but we don't even see duo. That's like they literally.
Well, you got Chloe and Halle. They doing their thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they also siblings
they break up or something?
Unless it's a family affair, it's very different.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Exactly.
Right.
And some of that is what you were talking about earlier, Stokes, is it's like being married. So it could be an industry thing to where the industry doesn't want to opt into that marriage, and also group mates don't want to opt into that marriage.
Yeah, think about it. If you got a band, a black band, let's say you put Mint Condition out today. how they gonna who's the tour support? How are we gonna pay to get this? Bring this across the country.
That's such a foreign idea now. And
it's like, what? You want to spend that much money on one act?
The sad part is because of technology today, it's so much easier to get the music out. That shouldn't matter. And I think ultimately fans suffer to where we're not capitalizing on the music that we can get. You know, because even for me, R&B, that's my go-to. It's relaxing. I think it helps out with stress levels. It's just I don't know. The music is so beautiful, but I feel like as a fan, we've been getting robbed for the last couple.
Absolutely.
It also promotes love, man. That's what's missing in this.
It helps out the birth rate.
So I know you guys very unique. I'm a music guy. I love just music, period. Did you guys venture off into other genres, or even when you were making your albums, did you pull in from other genres? Because I can hear a little jazz in you guys' music, and I love jazz. Big heavy jazz guy.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk a little song because I need to find out who you like.
For sure.
I hear a little saxophone in your voice, so
that's one. That's one. Yeah, Louis one. Absolutely.
So did you guys have any influences from the jazz or any? I know JD, you said gospel, and I love the gospel area as well. So any guys from other genres that you pulled in from? Inspiration or anything?
I think yes, I would say all types of music influenced me. Jazz and gospel, because of the kind of just listening to the spontaneity, and the being able to just respond, and listen and respond like that thing. It definitely influences me continuously. The chords in gospel and flats, those notes that you go,
dumb chords in gospel.
What?
Crazy chords.
This makes your body tingle in the back, when they're playing it or when they're singing. That stuff really sticks with me, and that stuck with me.
For me, I would have to say classical music. I'd have to add that. Dan said jazz and R&B and gospel, but classical music trained me how to round tones off, and that helps you blend with all the people around you. So classical music, I thank God I had that classical training in high school and in college, because it's working for me today, even in my older years.
What did you study? Classical, what? Music or just voice?
Me, my major in college was vocal performance. So Handel, Messiah, all that other good stuff. Those are the things that I did. And like I said, it really, really, really helped perfect my gift and bring me to where I am right now.
Cool.
So
the
cool thing is
jazz, gospel. Okay.
No, you go ahead.
Well, for me, it's like jazz, gospel. And believe it or not, when I was like 17, 18, I was in the rock band. I like rock too. I like rock music, man.
It's funny because I loved the 80s, that soft pop.
Yeah.
The Hall and Oates and Culture Club.
Exactly.
Honestly,
all that raised me. All that music raised me.
I think that's what Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis probably saw in you guys without you realizing it. It's the fact that your taste in music is so eclectic, and they're from that same school. To where Quincy, Babyface, they believe in tearing down genres. Good music.
Music is good music.
Absolutely.
And speaking of them, so I'm just gonna mention a couple of names that you guys have collaborated with, opened for, toured with. And it sounds like you're students of the game. I think it's impossible to leave some of these rooms. And I know you mentioned you probably don't keep the numbers in your phone, but I think it's impossible to leave some of these rooms with some of these individuals without gaining some type of wisdom. So I got just a couple of names: Joel Levert, Raphael Sadiq, obviously Jimmy Jam. I'm gonna keep going. And you opened up for Aretha Franklin. Biggie Smalls, which is, it just shows how wide your range is, right? Patti LaBelle, one of my favorite vocalists.
Oh yeah,
Frankie Beverly and Mays. and I'm leaving out a lot of names only because it couldn't fit on my notes. So what's the best advice that you guys have received from anyone in the industry that still holds true today?
Well, I can remember, I don't think, Dan, you was on the elevator, Unique, the other guy that was in the group, was on the elevator with Eddie Levert and Walter. And he told us one thing. He said, whatever you guys do, stay together. He said, no matter what. He said, because me and this guy right here, we argue all the time, but we stay together. We've been together for like, I think then they were together like for 50 years or something like that. And they still together today.
Yeah.
And that the thing about it, they say, whatever you do, stay together.
Stay together.
No matter what happens, no matter what, no matter what, stay together. That's what I my advice that I took from them, and it still holds true to me right now. That I believe that no matter what, you got to stay together.
That's marriage,
brothers. Yeah. Brothers gonna fight. Brothers will fight.
For me,
gonna fight.
Gerald Levert was really clear. He had a long discussion with us one time about that exact subject. That his father talked to Darnell about. And then, but for me, I would get all my knowledge. Like I used to soak up. I would just go into the studio. If Terry was in the studio, I don't care who he was working with, whether it was one of us or if I could, just sit in with, somebody else that he was working with. I would sit in on his
Patty,
and just sit, listen and watch. And he would always just like drop some gems, like, and I would just be like, dang, just guidance, which led me to just fall in love with like his humanity and his spirit, because he wanted everybody that he was working with, on the label to succeed, and he told us that he broke it down. This is what I want for you, that's not possible right now, that you don't have right now. And he would just lead us and say, this is how you get it. And I wish that, more, I don't know if you guys experienced that, but I wish more of us in the group had been able to experience that, because there were moments that was just like, wow, I'm sitting here listening to, this guy provide this information, and I'm gonna use it. And I use it every day. I use it every day. Like everything that he's ever said pops into my head every now and again. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Come on, JD.
Yeah, I'm sure you ran into some people.
Yeah, even in his family.
Yeah,
I think the best advice I have gotten from someone that has influenced me while we've been doing our thing in music, and I've been doing my personal thing, was Shaka Khan said, "Get rest so your vocals can work." And a lot of people take that lightly, but as you age, the body, you may still be able to do and deliver and be agile and all that other good stuff, but the rest is vitally important. Without it, at 21, you can bark out notes. At any other age outside of that, it's not the same.
Yeah, rest that voice.
Ain't that the truth?
I'm kind of ashamed, JD, I've known you this for years, but Shaka come up and tell you now you want to listen?
Stop it, Dan.
Sometimes the source, I'm telling you,
it's the source.
Yeah.
So I kind of do this with some of the other guests we have on. I pretty much, I'm going to mention a name. Just give me one word, or if the spirit moves you to keep it going. But just kind of give me a word, or like I said, if you can't just do it in one word, do it how you have to do it. But I'll give. As a matter of fact, I will give each one of you a name. You tell me what comes to your mind first when you hear that person. So, Danelle, I'll start with you. Sade.
Okay. Sensual. 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 Yeah, man. Good God. Yes. That's it. That's it. That's it.
That's it. Sir. Okay. All right. Dan, in Vogue.
Oh man, I got a lot of words.
Okay. If the spirit
Got a lot of
moves you.
thoughts. Sexy, committed, talented, focused, driven, timeless.
Mm,
He gave a word and a half for each member.
Yeah.
exactly. He did.
No, I love it.
Yeah, definitely. And I got a good one. And this you'll see why I did this one. JD, give me take 6.
Oh, wow.
That's why I did it.
Oh wow, man.
Insane harmonies, insane. Like for me, they were everything. I'm sorry. I don't have one word for them. They were everything.
I got a word. Thank you.
Say it again.
Yes.
Just thank you.
Yep. That's why I did it.
That's it. Just thank you.
That's why.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know
Back
what
the band would tell you how they influence. That's take 6.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's all I can say.
They can't fix them vocals in the studio. They hide it behind production.
Exactly.
Right.
All I
It
can
wasn't
tell out here.
auto tune back then.
No,
Ain't no
you
can't
had to
fake it.
sing every note correctly.
everyone. And you could tell they're very disciplined with their singing.
Mhm.
Mm.
Now, and that was some of the competition that you guys had at the time, which is just shows it was a great time to be
Yeah.
alive.
Yes,
I would say this with the advice that you guys did get. It looks like to some degree you guys followed through and stuck with that advice, because I would say it is very difficult. We're watching versus battles where it's hard to get people on stage together who were together like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So the fact that you guys are crossing like more than over 2 decades, and there's still some camaraderie there, to me, that's amazing. Beautiful part is you guys still get to tour, you still get to sing the music, and the fans still get to see you guys. So now my question is, where do fans go if they want to keep up with new music or just new tool? Like, what's like to stay up to date with you guys?
Solothegroup.com. You can find us on any social media with the exception of TikTok. Solo the Group. Yeah. We might get into TikTok, but come on. Something new every week.
That's that new age stuff.
I would imagine like even for I feel like it's always a burden for individuals who know how to sing to go on the app where you're forced to lip sync. So I get it. I get it. But yeah, and actually that's where I found out that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis Under the Streetlights. I visited the website. So you guys did feature some other inside stories that I wasn't aware of. Update the website and put those up too. And I'm gonna take your word for it.
It's coming.
Hey guys, check these guys out. If you haven't already, don't get afraid of the titles. Just listen to the music. It's not as scary as it sounds. And I'm assuming that you guys are old enough where you're not gonna get in trouble like I did. But we asked these guys questions. They were able to articulate them extremely well to where we were able to follow along, and you guys were transparent. I thank you guys for that. But when it comes to talent, I would say you guys were coming hard out the 90s to where I was like, I felt it, the doo-wop, the Temptations. I make that comparison out of respect. So follow these guys and just stay up to date with them. I'll put all your social media information on the screen, guys.
On the screen.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hey, guy, and Bill, they done threw out some names. I think we got some homework to do. This is the third interview. I done heard Chubby Checker, and we need to. I heard Patti LaBelle. I heard everybody from the Checker family. So Sounds of Blackness. I'm the one that mentioned it, and I'm like, I probably need to get on the show as well. But that's what I want to see, Bill. How do we find out what the folks want to see?
They know what to do. Go to the comment section. We call it My 2 Cents. Leave your comments and questions for Solo. If you guys want to know anything about Solo, or you want to ask him a question, or if you want to just give the roses to him, put your comments in the comment section, and we'll make sure that we'll get it to them. Or once they get the link and we all sit here and watch this video back together, they'll hopefully they'll be able to hop on and answer some of your questions.
Yeah.
Hey, outside of that, guys, hey, follow us on social media. Our information's on the screen. Outside of that, that's all that we got. Everybody say peace.
Peace.
Peace.